gentlemen that'll be helping me talk out here ask you guys questions. The more energy you guys give us, the harder we'll fight for you. All right?
Woo. All right.
Yeah. All right. So we're just waiting right now, doing quick weapons checks to make sure that even though we're swinging steel at each other, we're not going to hurt each other.
All right, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was yelling a lot, and I'm going to crack every once in a while. Don't laugh too much. Today, between the fall of Rome and the rise of the Renaissance, there's a period of time called the Dark Ages. And during that time, the Scandinavians, the Norwegians, Swedes, and Danish spread their influence across the world, and that period is called the Viking Age. The Vikings were not just warriors and pillagers, they were craftsmen, merchants, artisans, poets. But that's nothing we care about right now. We're going to talk about fighting. We are Skaldborg! We represent a warring party from many different nations around the Scandinavian world, all the way from Russia and the Byzantine Empire to Iceland and Norway and Ireland and maybe even the New World. You want to take over now, Zax?
Sure. So with that brief intro here, we're going to just kick the festivities off now with our weapons that we use. With the typical fighter of the Viking Age, iron and steel were very hard to come by, very expensive. Not like today where we can have buildings made out of steel for nothing. It was difficult to manufacture and find. So, one of the most basic and simple weapons that if you were any sort of person you would have is an axe. A hand axe. Show me some hand axes out here. Some small, simple tools that you'd be using every day around the house to cut wood, to slaughter your animals for your food. How old are you? Yes, sir, you right there. You're 9? You'd be using that axe.
Make it happen. Like an action.
Jason and Jesse, you guys weren't here yesterday. Get out there and fight! Woo! Woo! Whoosh!
To give you guys an idea, the modern age equivalent is like a machete, where it's no elegance, it's chopping and hacking limbs.
Ain't dead yet. Keep slashing. Oh. There we go.
Come on, Halfdan.
Finish it.
Go, Tristan.
Now help the man up.
Chop his leg off. Stand there laughing at him.
So, next we're going to do the next kind of transitional weapon here. Because it's going to be both one-handed and two-handed. But what's believed to be the most common weapon on the field was the spear. Now it comes in many different shapes and sizes, but for right now we're just talking about our single-handed spears. Sorry y'all, I know, one-handed spears please. I know. Now if you're a warrior on that field, you would have this in your hands. Everybody would use a spear. It is a small piece of iron on a long stick.
Fall down. Fall down, Hojan.
Meanest people in the army use these things. You can cleave a horse's skull right from its neck. It crushes bone, collapses helmets. There's nothing it can't cleave through. There was many different styles. This is an earlier style. It's called the boarding axe because it's basically a beefed up carpenter's axe. Later on,
Dane axes.
You have the Dane axe. They start incorporating a horn at the end for thrusting into an opponent. And then in very, very late period, you get a more specialized weapon with a hammerhead on the back. Better for crushing and just driving your opponent into the ground like a nail. The last weapon that we will talk about is the Cadillac of weaponry. The highest mark, or rather one of the highest marks of status a warrior could carry in the Viking Age, which is the sword. Sorry, I'm a little winded. They came in many different shapes and sizes, but the most common
is this very simple cruciform form where you'd have two sharp steel edges welded onto an iron core, which if done right will give you the strength to cleave through your enemies, and if need be, bend back straight. Yeah, we got swords, except for one who wants to be a little different. And I'll talk about you too. And out of the east, the Steppes tribes were notorious for fighting from horseback, where this sword is good, but not optimized for it. And she is carrying with her a saber with the curved edge, so as she rides through battle, she can scoop her opponents. And that blade will just glide through their flesh like a hot knife through butter. Yeah. Hot knife through. Well, let's not do that right now. So let's get some fights going with that.
You know, it's almost like we do this all the time. The shield wall was, if you can use your imagination, thousands of people wide, hundreds deep, of interconnected shields from rim to boss. Your weight was added to the weight of the man next to you. Your life hung on the strength of your wall. If one man fell, that gap was filled with thrusting spears looking for the vulnerable sides of the men next to you. So it was all about community and friendship. That's what the Viking Age really teaches us, isn't it? That first rank is that bulwark of wood and steel. Behind them comes the second rank. Spears tip over, of long spears thrusting into the eyes and faces of the opponent ahead. Axes go over. They would be hooking and yanking at the opponent's shields, trying to open that gap. Once the shield wall is broken, typically that army lost. Almost every time. Call it, somebody.
Shield board! Shield ball!
Scout more! Shield wall! Hammer those timbers!
You can't see out of your helmet.
Your mom makes me
Come over here.
Your mother loves me more than you. Your father smells of elderberries.
And you know
the hamster.
I heard you guys like McDormand.
Jenga! There's no time for tears, only blood! Blood!
He's talking to me again, isn't he?
He is. He says you're a beautiful man.
Yeah, he's talking to me again.
Maybe when he grows up, he'll say whole sentences.
Just so you know.
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Je tiens un babaroi. Oui. Pourquoi? Mon O'Connor. It's Holloway Hog too. Gesundheit. What your mom said. Hickory dickory dock. I can't say that.
Forward! Forward!
Keep that side.
Hold the line! Hold the line!
I don't know.
Yeah, because we heard that. No, that's enough right now. So we saw that there were a bunch of sharks.
Yeah, I'm out.
Sorry, those reflexes. Oh, yeah, Daddy's got big boots.
Who's alive? Who's alive?
Hey, some of these dead people just roll away.
Some dead, roll to the outside. Samuel, towards me. Quit talking about it,
No, I guess not.
Alright. Call me. These guys. Shield off. When we feed them all, put it all over together. Like men. Watch out! Get over! Yes, Coleman! Come on, Nick! Let's go! Someone gets me in here, right? Yeah, your buddy was stabbing me in the leg. Go with it. Come on! Good job. Yes! Come on, Nate! Come on!
Warband! Thunderhawk!
Redo it. That was a double, folks. Doubles don't count.
Sudden death! Come on, Nate. Channel the bounce ball. Good fight. I really hope someone got us three fighting in the middle because that looks like a movie. Yeah. I don't know if he got you three specifically.
It looks like they're done.